Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's my Darkest Diabolos for the April 2019 format. I decided to go and add in the new card that was introduced in Dual Power, which is Beat Cop from the Underworld. I must say she does make this deck a lot more consistent than ever, because her ability tributes. So it really comes in handy, especially if you want to give one of your monsters some added protection. And yeah, so let me go and show you what I got for you this time around. Okay, so starting off with the main deck, playing 3 copies of Darkest Diabolos. This guy's your main boss monster. You definitely want to try to get him out as quick as you can. The good thing about him is that he can't be tributed by your opponent, and he cannot be targeted. Also, whenever you tribute a dark monster, you can rip 1 card from your opponent's hand. Of course, he gets to choose which card and where he sends it, whether to be the top or the bottom. But overall, not a bad effect. Definitely helped just to get you some more advantage. Next, 3 copies of Lilith. Since this is a trap-based deck, you definitely want to be able to search them out as quickly as you can, and Lilith basically enables that. She kind of works like Trap Trick, only you just can't activate it on the same turn. But yeah, during either player's turn, you could tribute 1 dark monster, and you get to pick out 3 normal traps. Your opponent picks 1 at random, and you get to reset that card. Next, 3 Arma. You discard this to search out your Lair of Darkness, so he acts as a pseudo terraforming. But another good thing about him is that while he's on the field, you contribute 1 dark monster. You can either draw 1 card, or you can search out a monster with 2,000 defense. Let's see, is it 2,000 more or 2,000 or less defense? 2,000 or more defense. So you can also search out Destrudo. Sorry, I kind of goofed there for a second. Next up, 2 copies of Gato. This card is a kind of a hand trap in and itself. During either player's battle step, you can special summon this card. And if you do, you gain 1,000 life points. Also, a quick effect, you can tribute this card, target 1 face-up monster you control, and it gains 1,000 attack points until the end of the next turn. So it really comes in handy. 1 Armageddonite, you definitely want to pitch either Destrudo or your Darkest Diabolos to the grave as quickly as you can. Dark Griffer also helps with that problem too. Like if you want to unbreak your hand, you can discard level 5 or higher dark monster from your hand, special summon this card, and discard 1 dark monster to send another dark monster, so it definitely comes into clutch when it needs to. Of course, this deck can't be complete without a tour guide. You definitely want to search out your fiend monsters, or rather special summon them as quickly as you can, which comes to our next monster, Scarn. This card gets, if it's in the graveyard at the end of the turn, you could search out any level 3 fiend type monster, and primarily you want to search out your Lilith. 1 Blackwing Steam the Cloak, just helps you link climb. And then another combo piece extender, Destrudo. You could either run this at 2, like 2 of this and 2 Darkest Diabolos. I just prefer the 3-in-1 ratio. I just feel like that was more correct, because 1 Destrudo is all you're ever going to need. For hand traps, I just play 3 Ash. You can either do Ghost Ogres, DD Crows, or Infect Veilers. It's really just personal preference at this point. And if you have Thanos Dragon, you might as well just play that too. Moving on to spells, playing 3 copies of Lair of Darkness, turns everything to dark. And this also helps you tribute 1 of your opponent's monsters during once per turn. So, it's just a good way, because it keeps them from like responding from anything. Also, during the end phase, this is mandatory. You have to produce torment tokens on either player's field, depending on whose turn it was. If it's your turn, you produce the tokens on your side of the field. If it's your opponent's turn, you have to produce them on his side of the field. But overall, you should be able to make good use of those tokens. It helps you get into Saryuja a lot faster. It can also help you get into a free Beat Cop or Wee Witch's Apprentice. So they really do come in handy when they need to. 2 Terraforming is another good way to search it out faster. 2 Lair of Darkness. I don't want to banish all my cards, just unless I really have to. But I felt like 2 was more than enough. Got 1 Rhoda to search out either Armageddonite or Dark Griffer. 1 Dragon Shrine to either pitch my Destrudo or my Darkest Diabolos, as well as a Foolish Burial. You can also use Foolish Burial to send out Scarn. You definitely want to do 1 of those as quickly as you can. 1 Super Poly, since Super Poly seems to be pretty relevant in this format, especially with Danger, Thunder Guard Dragon, or Salamangreat. We got a lot of targets for those, so yeah. Of course, 1 Monster Reborn. You can never go wrong with a Monster Reborn. Moving on to traps already, playing 3 back to the front. You definitely want some good revival cards. Eradicator, since the back row seems to be pretty important in this format. And depending on your matchup, you just want to make sure you get the right call. And 2 copies of Lost Wind for just, negation, and it just cut down your opponent's monsters in half. And the good thing about this card is that it brings itself back whenever your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, but you have to banish it when it leaves. And that's pretty much it for the main deck. For the extra deck, playing, of course, the 1B Cop. So, whenever you link summon this card using 2 dark monsters of different names, you can tribute 1 monster, then target 1 face-up monster on the field, place 1 patrol counter. So you could tribute one of your opponent's monsters and give your Darkest Diabolos some more added protection, or you can just have this card target itself, and if you tribute one of your own monsters, you trigger out Darkest Diabolos. So this card just really helps out with this deck. It just gives it that added protection that it needs. 1 Link Spider, since we did produce tokens quite a bit, so you definitely want to make good use of that. 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice. Everything in this deck is dark, so you might as well just give your monsters a power boost. 1 Power Code Togger, since again producing a lot of tokens here. This just requires 3 monsters, and this monster tributes. So once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, negate its effects until the end of the turn, or once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, a quick effect, you contribute 1 monster this card points to, and this attack points become double. So, really amazing card. Saryuja, very easy to make. It's not hard to get 4 monsters with different names on the board. It really isn't. 1 Bomber Dragon, want to make good use of that token effect, so you just special summon a token to one of those arrows, trigger his effect, blow up everything. For rank 8s, playing Sun Dragon. This also tributes, but it also just helps you pop cards on your opponent's side of the field. 1 Hope Harbinger, a good card to counter against Sky Strikers. 1 Leviair the Sea Dragon, just to help you restore some of your banished cards, especially from the Lair of Darkness. For Synchros, playing F.A. Dawn Dragster for negation. Black Rose Dragon, and I finally found me a copy of Dark Strike Fighter. So this is just a good card to use during time rules. I decided to take out Grinosaurus. I felt like this card was a lot easier to make and a lot better, so I figured this was the better choice. So, yeah. And for my Super Poly targets, of course, I'm going to be playing Starting Venom Fusion Dragon, 1 Predaplant Dragon Stapelia, and 1 Salamangreat File Chimera. Figured why not. For the side deck, playing 3 Pankratops, 3 Artifact Lancia. Can't say much more than that. These are like one of the best side cards, and they both tribute, so figured that was amazing. I'm playing 2 copies of Heavy Storm Duster, another good card to deal with back row heavy decks. Wall of Disruption for decks that just like to fill up their boards, like Orcust, Danger Thunder, just like anything in general. And this card really punishes them if they try to fill up their boards too much and then try to do a full-on OTK. You spring this on them, all their monsters will pretty much go to 0 at that point if they have the numbers. 2 copies of Awakening Dragon. I usually like to play a little mind game with this card with Wall of Disruption, but like they'll either have to question whether they want to pop the card or not pop the card. So it's just like they have to take a 50-50 guess. And also for my Awakening the Dragon targets, and I go with Ultimate Falcon, Invoke Mikaba, since you can just another free negation, and then another card for time rules. Super Heavy Samurai Steam Train King, just banish all spells and traps in both players' graveyard, burn your opponent for damage. So, yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch you guys again next time.